Hello everyone, this is Benjamin here, and in today's video we shall be talking about 10 steps in writing a novel. If you are watching this video because you have always had the burning desire to write your own novel, of course you are in the right place. In this video I will be discussing 10 practical steps you can take to write a great novel. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, because in this channel we upload series of videos that are of great interest and benefit to humanity. Let's get started with today's video, 10 steps in writing a novel. At this point, let me also remind you that this video is centered around a book I have written and published on Amazon.com. It is entitled The Blueprint for Amazing Career Success. If you want to grab a copy of that very important ebook, of course you can use the links I have inserted here. You paste it on any Google search engine, it will take you to Amazon.com. Exactly the bookshelf on Amazon, where you will find the book, and of course alongside other books that I have published on Amazon, and then you can grab a copy. Alternatively, you can use my email address, which I have also inserted here, and write directly to me if you are interested in getting the copy directly from the author here in Nigeria. Now, the email address is as follows: benjamininfo33@gmail.com. So you get to this point, you can pause the video and copy this address so you can write to me. The book is just a token of 2,000 naira, which will be cheaper if you are paying in naira. So that's exactly the way it is. Let's get into the discussion of today's topic: 10 steps in writing a novel. Number 1, brainstorm and develop your story idea. Every good thing and every good product in the human society begins with an idea, and a novel is not an exception. So the first step towards writing a novel is to develop your story idea. You can do this through clustering, free writing, or talk writing. The bottom line is to come up with a winning story idea. Of course, there will be different ideas that will be generated as you engage your mind. But how do you know which one is the most suitable idea? Of course, the advice is for you to choose an idea you are most passionate about, because if you are passionate about a particular idea, of course your passion for it is what is going to drive you through thick and thin until you complete the writing of that novel. Number 2, outlining or pre-writing notes. Of course, the next stage is to outline or to write your pre-writing notes. When we say pre-writing, that's the planning stage where you gather your information and organize them. Of course, certain methods can help you, what we call the 5 W's and H. 5 W's refer to what happened, who did what, where, when, why, and how. So those WH words can give you a clue as to how to organize the events or the incidents or the actions in your story. Then, or you can alternatively use what we call the 5 elements of story writing, which is number 1, setting. Setting refers to the place and time of the actions. So setting will provide answers to where and when the incidents took place. Then characters will provide answer to who are the persons involved in this story, who did what and what happened. Then plot will be what happened and how it happened. And conflict, of course, is related to what happened and how it happened. But most importantly, the kind of suspense it creates, because plot is not just a series of events. Plot is events that happen in a cause and effect manner. One thing happened and caused another, and then these actions and consequences create suspense, because the conflict has to do with how these things affect the human character. A conflict is not just about a physical confrontation between two characters. It could even be a life-threatening situation or problem that is facing the principal character. And of course, the theme has to do with the main idea, the central idea, the lesson about life, which the story is set to tell. Now, one type of writer may decide to plan out everything before writing, using outlining, pre-writing notes, organizing the ideas. But another writer could be different. The first type of writer is the one we can call a plotter or an outliner, somebody who believes in planning before writing. But it's possible that a writer decides to write and then make his discoveries in the process. So this kind of writer is called a pantser, and a pantser doesn't need an outline. If you are a pantser, you simply begin with an idea and start writing as a process of discovery. As you write, new ideas occur to you, and then plus and minus, and you continue writing. It's like embarking on a journey without knowing your destination, and then you figure out how things will be in the process. Some writers are hybrids. They use a combination of the two. The bottom line is that you just begin somewhere. The toughest part of the job is the first step. The writing process, the toughest part is the first step. So a lot of people have great ideas, they have planned, they have outlined, but they are always afraid of taking the first step. They keep planning and dreaming, and of course, some never even get to actually writing their novel. So don't waste an eternity waiting until you get all the details of your novel planned out. Note that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Of course, I've written 8 books published in printed form, and I've written quite a number of others that are published as ebook. And each time I embark on writing a book, of course, is a combination of these methods. Writing is a very tedious process, and is something that requires flexibility. You can't be too rigid. You may write, and up to a point, you discover that a new idea comes to you, and sometimes you cancel out certain parts of what you have written, and then you begin in another way. So don't be discouraged because of this. Start somewhere. That's the most important thing. Number 3, create unforgettable characters. Of course, you need to devote time to planning the characters, because this is one essential aspect that makes a novel great. Every good story is about the human characters. And so the qualities of the characters will be the quality of the story. So devote time to figuring out the kind of characters you want to create, and the most important thing is to make them believable by injecting believable traits in them, injecting authenticity in their voice, in their habits, in their interactions, even in their background, in their mode of dressing, in their appearance, and so on. So that is really very important. The more attention you give to creating very powerful and lovable characters, the more interesting your novel will be. Number 4, conduct thorough research. In this step, you are ensuring that the various parts of your novel will not be contradictory. Even though it is a fiction, yet it has to have some measure of believability. You don't have to make one part of the novel contradict, with another, because when that happens, it can discourage the reader from continuing. It will raise doubts in the mind of the reader as to the authenticity of the story. So cross-check your facts. Ensure you use specific geographical and historical facts. There are various sources of information, different reference books that you can use to cross-check your facts. Your setting, for instance, needs to be gotten right. Where and when. And of course, your characters too, their name, their cultural background, and all that don't have to contradict with geographical or social or historical facts. So that's exactly. Number 5, your point of view character. In this, when we talk of point of view, we are talking of the angle from which a story is told. So you decide which of your characters to use as perspective characters. Some stories are told from the point of view of the first person. The narrator narrates the story as an active participant in the activities or incidents of the story. And so you use the first person narrative as if it happened to you or it was done to you, and so on. Of course, you may use the third person limited or the third person unlimited narrative technique, what we call the omniscient or the eye of God. Of course, the beauty in this narrative technique is that the narrator has access to the inner recesses of all the characters. He has access to their thoughts, to their dreams, to their aspirations, and everything, so that ensures free flow of narration, and there is no restriction as to how to narrate the story. Some people decide to use the second person narrative technique, which is rare, but if you can manage it, then of course you can use it. Now, that is the step of concerning the point of view. A major decision has to be taken, because when you figure out how your story is going to be told, of course, it will make the story very interesting. Number 6, decide the plot structure of your novel. When we talk of the plot is the arrangement of events in a story. There are 2 major types of plots. You have the linear plot, which is straightforward. A linear plot tells the story in a chronological order, and that is ideal for biography. You begin to tell the story from when the person was born and all that. Of course, you have the episodic plot, which tells the story in episodes without beginning in a particular order. So you may begin chronologically, or you may begin in what we call in media res. In media res is a Latin terminology for starting in the middle of the action or in the middle of things. So there is no no fast rule as to where to begin a story. In Chinua Achebe's Things for No Longer at Ease, you discover that the story begins towards the end of it. When you start reading the novel, Obi Okonkwo has been taken to court, you know, and that which of course is the final lap of the story. Then as you continue reading the story, a series of flashbacks are used in taking you back to where the actions or the incidents that culminated in that action started. And so that's one way of beginning a story. You have to decide how to begin your story. Then number 7, use sensual details to engage your reader's imagination. I mean, sensual details are details that appear to the senses of the reader: sense of taste, sense of smell, sense of sight, hearing, touch, and all that. So it's always better to show rather than to tell what happened. So that is exactly when you bring that kind of description, showing rather than telling, of course, it achieves a dramatic effect. Number 8, create conflict. Conflict is the engine of fiction, so you need to make your hero's predicament appear hopeless. Conflict is a very serious problem facing the characters. It could be a physical disagreement or an antagonistic conflict, confrontation between two forces. It could also be a very serious life-threatening situation facing a character. And what it does is that it creates suspense. It makes the reader emotionally involved, wondering what is going to happen next, and having interest to know how the issues will be resolved. Number 9 is a satisfying end. Write a fully satisfying end. It is not necessarily a happy ending, but a justified ending, an ending that justifies everything. What we call poetic license is ensuring that justice is done to the characters based on their actions and reactions. The law of sowing and reaping should always be followed. Number 10, editing, which is cross-checking your work to correct the errors of grammar, spelling, and punctuation, reconstruct your sentences to express your ideas with greater clarity. That is how it has been on today's video. And let me remind you again, if you are interested in getting my book, The Blueprint for Amazing Career Success, the link is here. My email address is here as well, that you can use to contact me. Don't forget to subscribe to to my YouTube channel if you have been interested in today's video, so that when other videos are uploaded, you will get instant notification. That is how it has been. We have been discussing 10 steps in writing a novel. Thank you for watching today's video. See you in the next video. Stay safe and bye-bye for now.